language, but I thought that's what she said. I didn't speak that language, but intuitively, instinctively, I knew that's what she meant. I knew that's what she was saying. You can also say it at any time you feel confused. You are seeking permission for how you live your life, or that you need to call your power back. And here we go. Crook and flail, crook and flail, flail and crook, flail and crook. I now declare with intention clear, I am a sovereign being of love divine. I call back my power, full and complete. I break all vows of giving away my authority. I release the lie. I release the lie that my authority may be taken from me. I surrender only to the light of my own divine essence. Crook and flail, flail and crook. I now declare with intention clear, I am a sovereign being of love divine. And that was that card. And let's move on to the next, beloveds, because like I said, the reading has taken longer than the dream, than the first one itself, but it is so much deeper with the guidance of the cards, the interpretations, the intuitions, the seen and the unseen, the elements that are being, the symbols and signs that are, the cards are providing along with it. Everything aids and guides us if we learn to use them in such a way. The Dark Mysteries into the Chamber of the Dark Goddess. I say all of that right before this card. Okay. And I haven't read these cards in a while. I haven't used these cards in a while, beloved. And a lot of this is just so instinctual. And like I said, this was an intuitive. I prayed over these cards and I intuitively pulled them. Spread them out and just pulled them randomly. And what came is what was speaking to us. So, and I know this is a long video and you might have to shut it off and turn it back on and come to it again and just look at the time stamp of where you are, where you stopped, where you started, all that good stuff, and you're good, beloveds. The Dark Mysteries. 194, which is a 14, which is 5. The Dark Mysteries. 194. Okay. Let me wet my whistle again. I'm probably gonna be up all night drinking this coffee brew stuff. Okay. The Dark Mysteries. Into the chamber of the Dark Goddess. The Dark Goddess calls. Like I said, I was being called. I'm being summoned. Do you hear it? I do. The Dark Goddess calls you to her inner chamber, where she holds a test and a gift for you. The test is your willingness to meet and release the fears within that have been secretly holding you back. That's that unconscious mind we're dreaming. The gift is freedom, peace, opportunity, and prosperity in all of its forms. Will you accept her call? Your time for deeper initiation is here. Beloveds, the message is so clear. I am going to meditate on what is rising in my deepest, deepest depths. I'm not going to share that, but there's so much like ascending that kundalini. Woo! Okay, it's just, it's there, and it's very sweet. It's so sweet and juicy. Okay, let me go. When the dark goddess calls you, it is a life changing experience. It is not always easy, but the rewards for those brave enough to answer her call and enter her inner chamber are tremendous indeed. The chamber, the heart, the four chambers, you know, that fill up and distill and detox and filter and filtrate and just repump it all and just circulates. And like I said, symbols, words, beloveds, signs, directions. It is not always easy, but the rewards are for those brave enough to answer her call and enter her inner chamber are tremendous indeed. Enter her enter her inner chamber. Let that resonate. Meditate just on that, beloveds. Answer her call and enter her inner chamber. The rewards are a life lived more fearlessly, the gift of loving and being just who you are in truth, without having to impress or bow to another out of fear or rejection. Mm, I told you it was juicy. I told you. It is more open and expansive. It is a more open and expansive way to live, and it attracts the bounty of the Dark Mother. The Dark Mother, beloved, let me just say that for those who hear the word dark and get to tripping, and they all they childhood fears and their program responses to darkness, blackness, shadow comes up. Beloveds, understand the polarity and the contrast. Okay, some things cannot grow in exposed light. That's why a seed has to be planted in the dirt, deep into the dirt. And the roots have to go down. The roots don't shoot up into the light because the sun would kill the roots and the plant would not grow. Okay? Hear this wisdom of the ancient ones, because this is the womb. The womb is the abyss. It's the blackest, darkest, most fertile thing there is. That's that water, that just black water, baby. Okay? From which everything matters and manifests. So when you hear about this dark goddess, understand this is the energy. It is not bad. It is the most fertile. Okay? The most nourishing. It is without light because it protects. It receives the ultraviolet light, that which is not seen. It houses that. It reflects that. Okay? That was the other part of the magic thing that I explained. Okay. That was deep, beloveds. That was deep. Okay. Mm. It is more open and expansive way to live and attracts the bounty of the Dark Mother. Her gifts of love, opportunity, peace, and prosperity, well-being, and wisdom. It takes a strong soul to go through this test and into the liberation it delivers. But you are ready, dear initiate of the light. The Dark Goddess calls you to initiation when you have been working on your own shadow, bringing your whole self to light. During such times, okay, I'm told to, okay, let me finish. During such times, we often need help as shadow work can be uncomfortable, painful, or just quite difficult to undertake as we are working with unconscious material, trying to bring it into the light of our conscious awareness. Beloveds, once again, see that seed. Know that that seed was sown through your ancestors. And you arrived as that seed and incarnated into this form. And that your shadow was their shadow. And we learned that is verified and validated by the Bible verse, the sins of the father. Okay? That's that cord, that's that shadow, that's that line, that's that shadow work that we were born to do. And we are born to be that glitch in that matrix system that makes it reboot the right way, ascend it and take it to the next level, and be able to create and give birth to that next level and what is in it, and what is allowed to stay and what is removed through our children. Let me keep going. This is a very deep card. There's so much wisdom coming up in it. And again, I'm getting the point. The A&E, Accelerated Evolution, and the Accelerated Evolution program is one that I am in to learn how to become a life coach, an existence coach. Mother with womb of existence is the name that was given birth to. And this is my path forward. And it has been so many years in the coming, so many situations, but it has been my truth. And I have never abandoned it. And I have never diverted from it, even or divested myself of it, even when I didn't understand. Well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why can't I just, oh, I'm cursed. I can't succeed. It's on my family and blah, 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 blah. And here we go. Valerie, it's your crook and flail. What you gonna do with it? You gonna give it away? If you give it away, your son and your grandson gonna be affected by that. You better wake up and take control of your subconscious manifestations. Okay. Working with the shadow, the parts of us that we have deemed unlovable, or the parts that seem too marvelous to actually be us, requires courage. I look at the wisdom of Mama, and you talking about being humbled, and like I said, staying at her feet means I am forever the fool. And I'm okay with being the fool for wisdom because, I mean, the dark goddess will call you when your own shadow needs healing and integration, when something within is holding you back, when instead, if acknowledged and brought into the light of awareness, it could actually help you move forward. In my 5-day intensive training with A&E, we work with each other and we do the processes on each other, the healing processes on each other, which means you have to come correct with your real stuff, you know. And so I showed up 100% with my real stuff, and I dealt with my real stuff. And after the training was over, we were told to administer self-care. This is part of self-care. But it just amazes me how we have to revisit things sometimes. And we have to revisit them in a way that gives us our power back. And sometimes, because we're so in our mind and we're so wrapped up into that situation and only seeing it the way we've practiced in our mind to see it or deal with it or react or respond to it, we can't escape it. We have the key, but we don't know, we can't put it into the lock. And so there's guidance. And that guidance, or just having someone there to listen, to hear, to hold sacred space for you. Not for your story, but for your truth. Of how and what you felt and what you feel now. Takes you to the next level of healing, of expansion, of growing, of developing, of maturing, of aligning all of your bodies. This is what I'm learning. This is my direction. And so, like I said, I'll put a link down in the commentary of where I'm getting my training from. And very soon I will be certified. And I will be doing this with others as a cosmic midwife with all these years existing in every kind of situation, ready to lead you, ready to hold you, ready to hold that space for you, ready to help yourself deliver yourself from yourself. Okay, here we go. Often the shadow element that needs integration when the dark goddess is present is power in some form or other. It may be personal power, spiritual power, or your relationship to power. That's a big one. What is your relationship to power? What is your relationship to authority? Your own and others throughout your life. This life and others. It's karmically reflecting in this one. It's current, it's present. Observe it. It may be personal power, spiritual power, or your relationship to power that needs to change for you to blossom and for life and its gifts to manifest more abundantly for you. Becoming more powerful does not necessarily mean gaining more force. More often, for advanced souls, it actually means surrendering our will into alignment with greater forces of divine will, allowing us to consciously participate in the flow of life sensing the signs and nudges that lead us towards our greatest manifestation of soul this lifetime. That's so very, that's so very true for me, beloveds, because I've been in that survival mind state that I spoke of before. That the mind just is what it is because of the things that it's experienced and it's felt, and it's a defense mechanism for what it is. And it will not allow you to move higher or to ascend or to surrender your baggage, your ish. You just stay constipated, blocked all up, unable to receive because you're so full. Unable to align because one aspect of you, that either the emotional or the physical or the spiritual or the mental, is like, fuck this, fuck that. Mm-mm. This is who I am, deal with it. And you've got to know how to see that part of yourself and know how to reason with that part of yourself. And that takes truth. That's the only language it will speak or it will listen to. And you have to be like water with that truth. You have to find a way to become it, to get into the flow, to accept it into the flow, so that it invited into the flow, so to speak, so that you can align into your sovereign power and abilities. Okay, let's go. More often for advanced souls, this actually means surrendering our will into alignment with greater forces of divine will, allowing us to consciously participate in the flow of life, sensing the signs and nudges that lead us towards our greatest manifestations of souls this lifetime. Often, when we are reclaiming our power and defining for ourselves what it is to be powerful, we are confronted with fear of loss, failure, abandonment, and rejection. It can be painful at times, but accepting and releasing the pain brings such deep relief and happiness to the self. It is good to confront these fears with a loving and firm approach and be open to taking risks in growing anyway. This is what Isis as the dark goddess teaches us, not to be afraid, to go into the dark places and the difficult feelings within. They may seem ugly at first, yet if we allow ourselves to go there with some conscious awareness in place, we can realize that these parts of us just need love and acceptance. And those parts that we once reviled often bloom, often blossom, and turn into our greatest assets in a more conscious, helpful version of themselves. We need radical trust to do this inner work and take her initiation. The dark goddess will support and nurture you through her tests as she guides you to receive the gift of more of yourself. No longer shackled in fear and hidden away, but ready to be in the world with brightness and vigor. And beloveds, again, I'm not going to read the ritual, but I will read the incantation of the dark goddess. Okay? Incantation, make sure I didn't turn it off. Okay, I didn't. This incantation can be repeated several times, gaining speed as you get used to the words. So it's like a mantra. Feel the energy in the words as you speak aloud. You can add it to the end of the ritual above, or if it is not the right time for you to complete the ritual, or you just choose a shorter healing process, You can use it on its own at any time. It is most effective if you take one moment to be in your heart, perhaps even placing your hand on your heart when repeating the incantation. Sublime ice is dark and sweet. There go that dark and sweet. Though you may, through you. Let me begin again, beloved, because I'm seeing dark chocolate, okay? And me being a big girl, that's got my, okay, let me just. Sublime ice is dark and sweet. Through you, my hidden self, I meet. I honor this self and accept. No longer do I fear, shame, or reject. You gift me with myself complete, sublime isis, dark and sweet. And that was it, beloved. And now the last card, Temple of Black Obsidian, the Dark Healing Chamber. And we began with the Merkaba. And we began with, let me get it. These are polar opposites. We began with the Merkaba. And we are ending with the Temple of Black Obsidian, the Dark Healing Chamber. Right after we came out of the Dark Chamber of Isis. So, beloved, like I said, these cards were intuitively prayed over and chosen and selected. Okay? Now let me show them both to you. I hope you can see them. That's deep. Okay. Temple of Black Obsidian. Let's get to it. Okay, and this is the first temple card. And it's 174, which is, I don't know why, 12 again, okay, which is a 3. Okay, 174. And that 74 came up in that song. Okay. Temple of Black Obsidian, the Dark Healing Chamber. Beloved initiate, the most challenging task is not to confront an external enemy, but to take courage in both hands and journey within to meet your own dark self and begin the healing task of bringing love, acceptance, and light to it. That is the sacred purpose of any enemy, within or without, to bring us more deeply into our own being as we seek to find and heal the darkness within. So if you ever wondered why we are dealing with a Trump, who I term the Antichrist, while we're giving birth to this new Christ consciousness, once again it's entering again the polarity, Christ consciousness and the Antichrist. And you have to realize that both are present to teach you wisdom and order, and divine wisdom. And that is done through the universal law of polarity, vibration, and choice. And again, it's all based upon, as these readings is showing us, the divine authority of your own crooked foot, your own sovereignty, in which you choose. and your own perception of dark and light, and the interplay of shadow. Okay. The Temple of Black Obsidian is a ruthlessly honest place of raw love and healing, truly profound and lasting. Deep relief and transformation can occur here. Black obsidian is protective and revealing. It will prevent harm from external or internal forces, but it will also reveal that which has been lurking in the shadows of the self. And we just talked about you find something ugly in the darkness, and the dark mama will help you deal with it. Trying to avoid being brought out into the open for fear of condemnation. Woo! The biggest challenge we face in entering the temple of the Black Obsidian is our own unwillingness to love and accept all parts of us. The initiate who is invited to enter the temple of Black Obsidian enters into his or her own shadow. That is the work that I'm getting ready to learn. The shadow work, how to take somebody into that shadow and how to help them be reborn out of it. Because I've gone through it. It's not coming from a place in my head or intellect. It's coming from the aligned bodies, spirit, mind, all of that. That is what will hold space for whoever I help. I'm looking forward to it, I must say, in ways I never thought I would, but I am. It's like being a mama all over again, of energies, of essences. It's the giving birth to it. It's the rebirthing of it. Now it's like the doula aspect of, okay, you've given birth and you know this and you've gone through the birthing and now let's help someone else through this cycle. You know what a mama needs because you've been that mama. You carried that baby 9 months, you've endured all of this, you've read about it, you know what happened spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Let's help someone else go through this. This is your calling. From that dark inner womb, those chambers within, to outside in the light. Give them that sovereign identity and authority over themselves. Give them the tools. Okay. The initiate who is invited to enter the temple of Black Obsidian enters into his or her own shadow, the part of us that is hidden from our own awareness and is usually only experienced in relationship to others, quite often as projection, thus the dream and the house and the beings downstairs and my family members and everything, and those were projections. And here we go. Lady Isis, as the dark priestess of the Temple of Black Obsidian, invites you now to confront the parts of your own ego that you have denied previously. Why? Because in doing so, you will gain more freedom, come to know yourself more wholly, and you will find that life experiences, opportunities, relationships, and breakthroughs that you have not been able to reach will suddenly become available to you. The dark chamber always leads to the light chamber, but one cannot avoid the initiation of the temple of Black Obsidian on the pathway to more light. Isis will assist you in preparing for this journey by encouraging you to not allow yourself to become your own worst enemy. Most of the fear we have before the dark chamber of healing is the fear of our own self-criticism and rejection. Wow. Think about the dream and what I'm just reading. Isis declares that readiness for the dark chamber requires a willingness to exercise non-judgment. The other card said that you judge the basement and the bottom as being lower than, less than, because you are on the second floor and got access to the attic. But it's the same house. This is why the successful initiation. Wait a minute. Okay. Sorry. Isis will assist you in preparing for this journey by encouraging you to not allow yourself to become your own worst enemy. Most of the fear we have before the dark chamber of healing is the fear of our own self-criticism and rejection. Isis declares that readiness for the dark chamber requires a willingness to exercise non-judgment, compassion, and a readiness to accept the self in all expressions. So even though racist blah 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 blah, that is an expression or a aspect that has to be dealt with in a non-judgmental manner, spiritually non-judgmental manner. To safely enter the dark chamber and be healed, you must be prepared to give yourself love unconditionally. You must be able to recognize judgments that you hold towards yourself, not as truths, but as old patterns. This is why the successful initiate of the dark chamber is a truly advanced stage of soul development. The heart has become willing to love unconditionally, and the initiate must be able to witness feelings that arise with kindness and acceptance, but not fall into them overwhelmed, crushed, or defeated by any darkness found within. It is worth the challenge because finding peace from pain, self-criticism, self-doubt, fear, and self-judgment through healing in this temple is a gift beyond measure. And again, I'm not going to read the ritual, but I am going to read the incantation. You can say this incantation at any time you need help in managing a difficult situation that seems to be about another or about an issue within you that is not completely clear. I call upon the temple of Obsidian Black. I call on the love of Isis so strong, stronger than any judgment or attack. It heals and makes whole any past wrong. I now choose to see the truth of my whole being, of my being whole. I see how, in this pain, I played a role. I choose to let pain of judgment be released. I choose to love and accept with deep peace. Transformation and healing now come to me. I love all parts of my being, infinite and free. And beloveds, while I was reading that, I advise you to know the story, the feelings, the emotions, the spirit, the physical, the mental journey of the existence of Isis. And as I was reading that incantation, what came to my, what I saw, what I bore witness to was Horus and Set were fighting. And Horus was winning. And Isis saved Set, who had killed Osiris, Horus's father. And Horus was so angry at her. But see, Set was her brother. Set was in the womb with her. and she witnessed her son killing him, about to kill him, and she interfered, and he cut her head off. Horus cut her head off for that. And let me read that incantation again, so that so that it speaks to you the way it spoke to me. Okay. I call upon the temple of Obsidian black. I call on the love of Isis so strong. Do you see why her love was so strong? You know the story. If you've witnessed your own emotions and feelings and spirit, and you can identify and have compassion and empathize with another, with this feminine, divine feminine energy known as Isis. When it says, I call on the love of Isis so strong, do you know how strong that love is? Do you know what love is? Stronger than any judgment or attack. Her love was stronger than any judgment or attack. And she was attacked by Set, and she was attacked by her own son. And she was judged because she had to run and leave with Horus and leave Set in rulership. And she didn't go back and try to fight and take over his kingdom or blah, blah, blah. That's why it says, I call upon the love of Isis so strong, stronger than any judgment or attack. It heals and makes whole any past wrong. Do you understand that? You want to talk about forgiveness? You've got to have that kind of unconditional love to understand and see the whole picture. I now choose to see the truth of my being whole. And I now choose to see the truth of my being whole. My being whole means I'm aligned, past, present, and future, beyond time and space, beyond the separation and fragmentation of being unaligned and imbalanced, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. I see how in this pain I played a role. Each lifetime, in each thought, in each choice, in each silence, in each action, in each inaction, I played a part. I played a role that I chose. I choose to let pain of judgment be released. I choose to let pain of judgment, judging others causes me pain. Judging others triggers my pain. Judging others is corded to my pain. I cannot have one without the other. Every time I judge, I am affirming my own pain, my own connection, my own addiction, my own attachment, my own self-hate and self-fear. And it's a habit that I've got to break. That judgment of myself and others. That's the mind. The spirit has no need to judge, has no need to keep track, doesn't keep a tally. There is no red and black. There is only existence. Existence exists. I choose to love and accept with deep peace. Transformation and healing now come to me. I love all parts of my being infinite and free. That means there are many different parts, aspects of me. Some of them are ancient and all wise, and some of them are infants. Some of them are unborn. Some of them are born and in that early season and early stage before toddling, where they just want the booty and sleep. I love all parts of my being infinite and free. You've got to accept yourself as a sovereign, infinite being, and you've got to love all parts of yourself, individually and collectively, realizing that they're all one, all one, regardless of the appearance, regardless of left or right, up or down, ugly or beautiful, loud or silent, accepted or unaccepted, holy or profane. Do with this information as you will, beloved. I hope you use it to help you and others. Namaste. Mwah. Smooches and big hugs. And that is it.